Did you know that the longest military campaign in history lasted for 8 years? And I am not talking about World War II or the Korean War or even the Syrian Civil War. I'm talking about China's resistance against Japan during World War II. China's resistance against Japan began with the Marco Polo Bridge Incident in July 1937, and for the next 8 years, China tied down as many as 750,000 Japanese troops, which is why the Japanese called the war in China their second front. The war in China was one of the most brutal campaigns in history. It's estimated that 14 million Chinese died, tens of millions more were wounded or displaced. Entire villages could be wiped out in a single day, and yet China did not surrender. In fact, China's resistance only grew stronger. Why? Because surrendering to Japan would have been seen as a betrayal of everything the Chinese people stood for. As historian Rana Mitter notes, China's decision not to surrender in 1938 was a crucial turning point. Had China fallen, Japan could have redirected its forces elsewhere and might have even succeeded in conquering all of Southeast Asia. But by holding on, China bought time for the Allies to get involved. You see, before Pearl Harbor, the Japanese were winning. They had a much stronger army and a much better equipped army. The Chinese, on the other hand, were badly outnumbered and outgunned. But the Chinese had one thing the Japanese didn't: motivation. The Chinese people were fighting for their homes, their families, and their very survival. And that gave them the strength to endure. The Chinese also had the support of the Allies, especially the United States. After Pearl Harbor, American aid began pouring into China. This helped the Chinese resist the Japanese, and it also helped turn the tide of the war in Asia. In the end, it was the combination of factors that led to Japan's defeat. The Chinese resistance, the American aid, and the Japanese inability to win over the local populations in the areas they conquered. These are the reasons why Japan lost the war. But what would have happened if China had surrendered? Would Japan have been able to conquer Southeast Asia? Would the war in the Pacific have been longer and bloodier? We can only speculate. But what we do know is that China's resistance was a crucial turning point in World War II. It was a resistance that not only helped defeat Japan, but also saved countless lives. Thanks for watching.